Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something that might just flip your whole idea of creativity on its head, and we'll explore why it could be a secret advantage in this new age of AI.
All right, first, a quick little experiment. Go on, try it right now. Close your eyes. Can you see a shiny red apple in your mind? Can you picture the light glinting off its skin? Maybe the little brown stem at the top? Okay, hold on to that thought.
For most people, this ability to visualize, what we call our mind's eye, is considered absolutely fundamental. We think of it as this inner canvas where we dream up new ideas, where we design, and where we create.
But what if that's not the whole story? What if being able to see things in your head is just one flavor of creativity? This is where we get to challenge a really core assumption about how our minds are supposed to work.
Okay, think back to that apple again. What if when you closed your eyes you saw, well, nothing, just blackness? Not because you failed to imagine, but because your imagination works in a completely different way.
And this brings us to a condition known as aphantasia. Now, it might sound like a deficit, right? But as we're about to find out, it could just be a difference, and maybe an increasingly powerful way of processing the world.
So what is it exactly? Well, aphantasia is simply the inability to voluntarily create mental images. It's not that people with aphantasia don't know what an apple is. They can describe it to you in perfect detail. They just can't picture it in their head.
Now, the immediate reaction for most people is, whoa, that has to be a huge disadvantage. I mean, how could you be an architect if you can't visualize a building, or a novelist if you can't see your own characters?
But this is where the whole story takes a really fascinating turn. Because, as it turns out, creativity isn't just about pictures. For people with aphantasia, their creative engine runs on a completely different, non-visual fuel.
Here's the core insight, the big idea. For those with aphantasia, creativity isn't about manipulating images in their mind. It's all about connecting ideas, about finding these surprising, unexpected links between abstract concepts.
This here illustrates the two modes perfectly. On one side, you've got visual creativity, which is like a painter. You're thinking in pictures, building a scene with images. On the other side, you have conceptual creativity, which is more like a poet. You're building meaning by connecting different ideas. One isn't better than the other. They're just two fundamentally different toolkits for innovation. Let's go back to our apple one last time. The conceptual thinker isn't seeing the apple. Instead, their mind is processing the entire network around the apple. They're thinking about Newton and gravity, the phrase "an apple a day keeps the doctor away," the Apple Computer's logo, and maybe even the story of Adam and Eve. It's a web of data, not a single picture.
So, okay, this is all super interesting, but why is this non-visual, conceptual way of thinking becoming so important right now? Well, the answer can pretty much be summed up in two letters: AI.
Think about it. Modern artificial intelligence, these huge, large language models, they aren't visual systems. They are massive, interconnected databases of concepts and relationships. In a way, they're a perfect reflection of conceptual thought.
So, a mind that naturally thinks in concepts is perfectly suited for this new world. It doesn't get distracted by all the individual data points, the visual trees. Instead, it sees the entire data forest. It's naturally wired to spot hidden patterns, unexpected links, and weird little inconsistencies that can lead to major breakthroughs. This makes navigating these massive, complex AI systems feel incredibly intuitive.
You can kind of think about it like this. When you're dealing with enormous data sets, getting lost in all the visual details can be totally overwhelming. The real advantage, the real power, comes from keeping that conceptual clarity, seeing the big picture and all the abstract relationships.
So what does this all mean for the future? Well, it suggests that we really need to rethink our definition of valuable cognitive skills. It's all about embracing this idea of cognitive diversity, that there are many, many ways to think, and many ways to be brilliant.
So, what have we learned here? Well, that creativity is definitely not one size fits all, that the mind's eye is just one tool in a much bigger toolbox. And most importantly, that aphantasia isn't a deficit. It's a powerful conceptual thinking style that's perfectly timed for the dawn of the AI age.
So the crucial point is really this. As our world gets more complex and more data-driven, we're going to need a diversity of minds to solve our biggest challenges. The visualizer and the conceptualizer, working together, are just far more powerful than either one could ever be alone. And that leaves us with a final, fascinating question to think about. As these vast, abstract AI systems become the foundation of our future, maybe the people best suited to design and understand them aren't the ones who can picture an apple, but the ones who can understand everything it's connected to. Thanks for watching.